everyone. So we have a brilliant panel here this morning. I'm also so excited to kick off this day. I'm truly honored. So I'd love if you can each introduce yourself. Well, first of all, as Megan said, I'm a senior contributor at Forbes and love talking about retail, brands that are making an impact, sustainability, and all the good stuff. So if you can each introduce yourselves and just share very quickly about your brand and its mission. We'll start, John, if you'd like to kick it off.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Excited to be here. My name is John Silverman. I'm the Senior Vice President for Physical Products and Own Brands at Grove Collaborative. I've been in the physical product space, homewares, kitchenwares, housewares for about 20 plus years, and I've been at Grove about 5 years. It's been an incredible journey. Grove is a leading sustainable consumer products company. Our mission is to transform the consumer products industry into one that's a force for human and environmental good. We do that in a few different ways. We started out a few years ago doing that through the curation of home cleaning and personal care brands that really rely on sustainability and natural ingredients. And then a couple of years later, and where our focus for the last few years has been, is really creating our own products and brands that really lean into kind of this trifecta that we've built up: consumer need coupled with sustainable ingredients and packaging, which I'll get more into as we chat here, and performance, unparalleled performance. We feel like sustainability is the only choice for the future of the world and this industry, and that the choices that we make today really matter.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Vasiliki, I'd love to invite you to share as well.
Nice to see you all. I am Vasiliki Petru. I'm the head of Unilever Prestige. It's a luxury division. We are the holding company of 9 beautiful brands. I'm sure brands that people will recognize, like Dermalogica, Murad, Tatcha, Kate Somerville, Hourglass, Paula's Choice, beautiful, authentic pearls, as we call them. And our business model is to make a positive impact on society and the planet. And what's exciting about our business model is that it's very much purpose-driven. We believe that in luxury, there was a gap in terms of having a luxury-led business model that is anchored on purpose. So that's it a little bit as a synopsis.
I love that. And I've shared with you before that Tatcha and Hourglass are my go-to brands. So
yes, thank you. Both beautiful brands.
Yes, I'm wearing the Hourglass concealer right now, actually.
Thank you. I always say, once you try Hourglass, you don't want to try anything else. So thank you for being a beloved customer.
Yes, of course. Dr. Arcot, if you could share about Wound.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Founder Made. Such a wonderful panel. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this panel. Wound is a luxury brand which is started by me, Dr. Vandana Arcot. I used to be a physician working at the UN for about 13 years. And when my son when I was pregnant with my son, I realized that all ingredients and all products were not created equally, and there was this dearth in the market for organic, sustainably made home decor, which is where Wound comes in. We, as a doctor, I used to help women in the eco-conservation industry a lot, and I used the same brand and ethos into the brand that I made in Wound, and we're very proud of what we do today.
Yes, love all the work you're doing, especially with the bee conservation, and which you'll share about in
a bit.
And Jen, if you can talk to us about Manifest Commerce.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Jen Root. I'm co-founder and CMO over at Manifest Commerce. Manifest Commerce is a sustainable logistics 3PL fulfillment solution, and we're leading the logistics movement through earth-friendly, carbon neutral, plastic-free fulfillment. 2020 was a wild ride. E-commerce boomed, but as part of that, there was a trash pandemic that happened. There was over 295 million tons of e-commerce waste that was produced, and Manifest was born to clean up the earth through earth-friendly fulfillment solutions. So really, our mission is to enable retailers to run high-powered omni-channel logistics in a sustainable, socially responsible way.
I love that. Thank you so much. So we have so much to discuss and very limited amount of time, but if we have a couple of minutes at the end, then I'll invite the audience to send in some questions that hopefully we'll be able to cover. So John, speaking of sustainability, Jen just ended off with sustainability. John, I'd love if you can share, you've said sustainability is an and not an or at Grove Collaborative. Can you share what that means, a bit more about what that means and how that looks at every level of your business?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Corinne. So I think we know that there's been a history with consumer products in the early days, going back a couple of decades, that the products had sustainable from an ingredient and or packaging standpoint, but the performance wasn't there. And so it was an or, and I think that, created slower adoption. We've now beat back a lot of that trend. A lot of brands that have come ahead of us have been able to do that and have been successful. And so we have the captive audience in consumers. So when Grove thinks about, when Grove thinks about product innovation, we make sure that performance and sustainability stand kind of on equal footing. So for us, that has shown up a few different ways. Primarily, one of our biggest areas that we've leaned in is really in plastic. In 2020, Grove committed to being plastic neutral in January 1, 2020. That means we collect through two partners. We collect ocean-bound plastic equal to all of the plastic that is in a customer shipment that goes out to them through grove.com or e-commerce platform. We also committed to being plastic-free by the end of 2025. No product, whether it be one that we create or curate, or any of our packaging, anything in the box, will have any plastic in it by the end of 2025. But in doing that, that means we had to be creative about the packaging that we develop. And so that meant we use glass, we use aluminum, we use coated paperboard. And so the products that go in that packaging, we also sometimes you restrict yourself in what can go into aluminum. You make sure that you have compatibility with your packaging. Plastic is a great stable thing. You can kind of put anything in plastic. Sometimes when you move to other packaging materials, you don't always have that flexibility. We also do the same thing with our fragrances. We use only essential oils and natural fragrances. And you are limited in some ways in terms of how that fragrance can come through to the consumer. But through all of this, we put it through the same lens as to assume this person was buying, Mrs. Meyer's, which is a great product with good ingredients, but does have synthetic fragrances. We need to make sure that our home cleaning products hold up to that same olfactory experience that Mrs. Meyer's do. Make sure that the ingredients that we put in these bottles to make sure that, that they don't react to aluminum, et cetera, that our surface cleaners perform, that our dish soap performs, that our laundry detergents perform. So we really do make that an and throughout the entire development life cycle, all the way to the consumers.
I love that. I love that it's a non-negotiable, and that you walk the talk in that realm. That's so important.
Thank you.
So, the main topic of the panel today is innovation. So I'd love if you can each share what innovation means to you and your brand. Vasiliki, if we can start with you, because you've said innovation is inspiration with the portfolio of your brands. Can you explain what you mean by that? Tell us more. And then I'd love if you can each share that as well.
Sure, thank you. I believe that the modern consumer has been deprived of inspiration, and they are desperate for inspiration, especially in the new post-COVID world where everything has been stressed, people are struggling. Inspiration and creativity and game-changing, also innovation, is what people crave for. Also, digital has been overrated, if you want, as a tool of communication. We believe that there is much more in the intersection of digital and human touch where we'll see discontinuous innovation and space, for different newer solutions than what we have seen before. The other point I want to say, sometimes people think about innovation as in product ideas. I definitely think we're going also into more service experiential ideas, but also innovation of the business model. How do we cater to somebody's needs, unarticulated, let's say, desires, etc., and how do we get organized as an organization and a business to cater to that? So I see it as a holistic ecosystem of a product, of the what, but also the how, and also the how in how you get to the emotions and feelings of people versus just the more superficial interaction with the brand, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And the emotional connection is so important, especially in beauty.
Yeah.
Like in this industry.
Absolutely. It's about the communities and advocates for brands. It's about a fun base of advocacy. I think this is kind of the new world of brands that create this love and connection that is here to stay, and it's sustainable. Brands that do good and create communities of fun advocates.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Arcot, do you have something, what would you say about Wound and how innovation looks for you?
So innovation is at the core of Wound. We think innovation is what drives our brand mission and ties it to the ethos of the brand. Innovation comes from the products that we have created, which are completely recyclable. They're recycled materials. We have used renewable materials. We use biocompostable sugarcane labels that are paper-free. And the ingredients that we source, they're all ethically sourced, they're phthalate-free. It takes a certain amount of patience and dedication to the brand mission to source really good ingredients for the brand itself. But innovation doesn't stop from within the products itself. It goes all the way to the way we run the company. We are pet mamas and human toddler papas, and we build communities in bee conservation. We make farmers build sustainable farms by just pairing them up with either sustainable brands or by pairing them up with chefs or our individual consumers that help in fostering a hive or just helping them grow hives within their own farms. The innovation for us is it's not another business model. It's not an alternative. It is the core of our business model. It's what drives everything from the way we launch consumer experiences to the way we launch products to the partners that we have, either retail or supply wise. It's the core.
I love that. I love that. Jen, not to put you on the spot, but we'd love to hear what what innovation looks like for Manifest Commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, innovation is more than just moving with the market. It's a lot of keeping a pulse on where the market is heading and, pivoting in anticipation of the market. So, when Manifest was created, it was created out of a need to create a more sustainable logistics solution, a more sustainable supply chain, a more stable supply chain. I mean, it's no secret what's going on with our supply chain. There's like freight container ships lined up at all the ports. Some of those are like idling. And what that means is that there are, fossil fuels just pouring into our oceans. It's not sustainable for our environment, and it's no good. So we have partnerships up and down the supply chain. So we go above and beyond just our core fulfillment model and really look up and down the supply chain to where we can forge partnerships and ultimately advise the brands that we work with to cleaner solutions within the supply chain. And, you know, another important piece to consider is the buying habits of consumers are changing rapidly. So what that means is consumers desire a sustainable model throughout the whole consumer experience. You know, when we look at where 40% of global commerce is coming from, it's from Gen Z right now. And as Gen Z as that generation starts to become settled in careers, they're voting with their dollars. And, you know, I think it was like 60%, there was a National Retail Federation survey, and it was pretty high. It was more than 50% of that group of consumers would choose to spend a little bit more if it was beneficial for the environment, if it supported social equalities. You know, this generation that's up and coming cares deeply about the world that we live in. And we got some cleaning up to do. So, you know, our fulfillment solutions, we looked at everything from how we warehouse, ensuring that we're using renewable energies where we can in our warehouses, as far as shipping and logistics, zero plastics, even down to our tapes. They're water soluble. Plastic takes over 500 years to biodegrade. So, you know, if there's already plastic that's in existence, how do we reuse it? If it's possible to not create more plastic waste, let's look at how we can do that. So we've looked under the hood of the logistics operations and worked on how we can create a more sustainable and ultimately ongoing circular sustainable logistics solution for our brands and ultimately for the world.
You know, I'm going to want to double click or circle back to what you said about anticipating retail buying trends, because I would love each of your take on that. But I wanted to first go to John just about innovation and peach, not plastic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for us, yes, innovation, I mean, it shows them in a bunch of different ways, but really through our product development, like in how we approach brand and product development. And so we have a number of different innovations that started in our Grove Co. home cleaning, our flagship brand. We do 1 ounce cleaning concentrates for surface cleaners instead of 16 ounces of water in a plastic bottle. So we've been doing a lot of that. We do tree-free home tissue, so bamboo-based toilet paper and paper towel. But when we launched our personal care brand, Peach Not Plastic, we launched it just over a year ago. It was going to be 100% plastic free from day one. And so that started out as shampoo bars and conditioner bars in fully recycled paperboard packaging. You take the bars out of cardboard boxes and you can recycle those boxes. Phase 2 of that was we launched the world's first ever refillable, totally plastic free and aluminum, not in the deodorant, the packaging deodorant. I even have like a little cartridge here. This is a deodorant or this is a body lotion and deodorant product that it's 100% aluminum packaging. There's aluminum refills. There's no plastic in it anywhere. It works just like deodorants do with a turn-up dial on the bottom. That for us is at the core of innovation. Thinking about the systems that are out there that we feel like haven't thought about human health and environmental health, as well as kind of bottom line and revenue generation. And how do we just reinvent that system? And we've been able to do it across a number of different verticals. It takes time and it isn't easy. And there are not a lot of suppliers that already narrow the supply chain that Jenna's talked about. It gets even narrower when you think about people that are doing something that is not typical in the world. And we've been able to push it through, and the consumer response to it has been pretty incredible. So we're going to continue to do it.
I love that. Thank you. Sorry, I had to mute myself because there was really loud noise in my background. So I wanted to, just to talk about forecasting and, the future, like making predictions. So Vasiliki, you recently launched an entrepreneurial innovation competition focused on the future marketplace and innovating retail. Can you share more about that?
Sure. As I said a little bit before, we believe that there's gonna be a lot of interest in the intersection of digital and human touch. So we launched this competition, we called it Project Connect, which was defining the next stage entrepreneurs that had something interesting in beauty technology that kind of was bringing the humanity into digital. So we identified actually a great company. Their name is Hue, and they use a lot of online beauty advisors and they're also very much interesting in terms of diversity and kind of helping women identify the best shade in color cosmetics. So we'll be working with them, and I think it was more as well a symbolic move to show to entrepreneurs that there is hope. The big corporates are very much interested in emerging talent and emerging beauty technologies. So it's definitely something that I will be doing again, because back to the inspiration point that you mentioned before, we need always to have this funnel of young entrepreneurs that are into changing the world and thinking differently. Young or old actually doesn't matter, but it's really about thinking differently and bringing different solutions to solving new problems or needs, if you want. So yeah, that was Project Connect.
I love that. Actually, and we have, there's a question. Thank you for sharing that, Vasiliki.
Sure.
There's someone in the audience had a question for John, the packaging for Grove. You said it was aluminum?
For our deodorant and lotion, we do put those in. That's an aluminum packaging. We use a variety of, we use aluminum for our hand soaps and dish soaps. We use recyclable paperboard. We use glass as well. And it's something that we're constantly working through, but the movement away from plastic is the definitive goal. How we get there kind of depends on what product we're putting inside the packaging.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Arcot, I'd love to ask you, and welcome other panelists if you'd like to share as well. Just what does the entrepreneurial mindset mean to you?
The entrepreneurial mindset is extremely important, especially when you start a brand like ours. It is when we talk about environmental conservation and sustainability, it's not just another buying fad or a buying trend in this generation. It's a need. It's because it reduces the gap between gender inequality. It's important for racial justice. It's important for environmental justice, not just within America, but across the world. And when you encourage suppliers who build products or who build ingredients that are sourced ethically and are naturally and value the traditional methods of making them while supporting the environment that they live in, you are encouraging that business to grow. When you encourage farmers to improve the conservation that they do on their individual farms, you're encouraging conservation of a different kind. So really, the sustainability for us is it's not just a mindset, it is the need of the hour. You have to do it now. And I think brands that are coming up now, or brands that have already been in existence for centuries before this, have to pivot. It's not about voting with money. It's about a conscience that the brand needs to have in order to survive, and in order to have a commerce that is equal in the foreseeable future, rather than have a planet that's completely destroyed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no planet B. Yeah. I love that quote so much. If we have 4 more minutes, if you can each share what the entrepreneurial mindset means to each of you. We have so many, aspiring founders and new founders in the audience. So I'm sure they'd love to hear each of your take on that.
Yeah. I think, having that entrepreneurial mindset is so important, because it's really the desire to keep going and to fail often, and, get up, brush off, try again, learn from that, that didn't work. So move in this direction. It's like that quote from Finding Nemo where it's like, just keep swimming, you just keep going. And, there's also the desire for the innovative and conscious entrepreneur to really create something that's going to make a difference and make a lasting impact. So thinking beyond profit, thinking, beyond just doing business to do business. And to Dr. Arcott's point, a rising tide lifts all boats. How can a business really look at partnerships, consumers, as more of a community and a celebration of mission rather than just doing business to do business? So, I think just authenticness is important. Learning how to dance in the moment when, something weird comes up and you just kind of figure it out and navigate through it. And leaning on partnerships and like-minded consumers, suppliers, all of that to create a community within business.
Love
I
all
would
of
say, I would say to have a very high conviction, to have a very sharp point of view. And like one of our founders says, Kate Somerville, not to listen to the no-sayers. Basically, indeed, to keep streaming, keep going, but also, like Jen said, to be focused on making a difference, doing good, and kind of thinking about what is the legacy, you're going to leave to consumers, society. If people are in the game, to make a quick buck, as I say, that's not it, otherwise you're gonna fail, but if you are with a big conviction of making a difference and leaving a legacy, there is no way people are gonna fail. So I think that's kind of the key entrepreneurial mindset for us.
I love that. That's beautiful.
I would just add, I think that trying to define ahead of time where you want to have impact. I think, companies at times will be a little bit too diverse with what they're trying to do or the number of messages they're trying to communicate. I think if you have some focus on where you're trying to have impact, you can kind of fill that entrepreneurial funnel in that area and not all others. And then I just say, bring a tremendous amount of humility to everything that you do. Yes, have that point of view, but no individual, you, the person listening here, is not going to have the impact that you want to have. You collectively as an organization can have the impact that you want to have. And it's important for you as leaders to bring humility. That idea that you had lasted, it was a good idea for as long as it was good. And you need to move off of that idea if it is no longer a good idea. The good ideas that you're going to hear from other people are also good ideas. You have to be willing to hear those and model that entrepreneurial spirit throughout the organization. If you feel like you or a small set of people are the only ones that are entrepreneurs with good ideas, the impact's just not going to be there, and you're not going to engender that mindset to those that you work with.
Yeah, I love that. I know we're at time. I just see one quick question that came in for Vasiliki. How important are subscription and/or membership programs to impact long-term CLTV?
Very important. We actually see double the long-term value of people on subscription. So subscription business models are very valuable.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so wonderful to have. I feel like there were so many amazing and inspiring sound bites in that quick half hour. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I was taking notes the whole time. And I love some of the thoughts that you guys had, which is define where you want to have an impact. Don't listen to the naysayers and focus on your legacy and innovate. I think that, to me, especially post all of this crazy stuff that we've all gone through together as humans in the world and as brand builders. I mean, I think that it's really important to focus on that. So thank you guys. Thank you for giving to our community with all of the incredible content. And I can't wait to see you in 2022 when we're at our live shows. So yes, exactly.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, everyone.